Hi, Dave here, and today we're going to check out the work of Thomas Pringle. He did some work for Transformers. Oh god, it's taking a while to load. Apologies, but I actually found this guy by accident on ArtStation, and in a way, he's kind of like a hidden gem just because he does have a lot of professional industry work, but I do find his more personal stuff way more interesting just because it's a style. I think he has a way of painting that just appeals to me. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot on his portfolio that I would consider personal work. Like he only features a couple of paintings of his, but you can still see in his industry professional work his approach. Like some of his painting style, I guess, does transfer to his more finished photo bashed types of artworks. He does have an art station, by the way, and I did find him here first. I believe one of his pieces was featured on the homepage, and he does focus, I guess, more on sci-fi concepts, vehicles, environments, very very grungy types of artwork, like dark, not like dark sad, but almost not necessarily dystopian, but something, it feels rusted, I guess. Like a lot of his work feels rusty or old or used up. I think he did some work for The Quiet Place and Pet Cemetery as well. But most of his work is heavy on the sci-fi aspect of things. So, and he also has, or he was featured in this site. This is cool. So you can check out his pieces because sometimes not all of his pieces are going to be in one place. So yeah, I do recommend you still check out his actual website. So he did some work, or he does some work for movies, video games, but I think we're going to focus more on his personal work right here. Oh god, it's taking too long to load. But you'll guess why I do like his work. We'll start here in the bottom, I think. There you go. Now, if you look at the sketch of this painting, it's a station train engine. And if you look at the style, what do you see? It's impressionistic. It's very, very, it's clear and unclear at the same time. And you can actually see a bit of this in his more finished work, in the way he does his photo bashing. Even the way, or when he does his actual bashing of photos, it does have a bit of that messiness. That you can still see that painting style of his in his more finished work. Now, obviously, as you go further, or as you define things further, there's going to be less of this chaos. But this is the type of work that appeals to me the most. So if you're an impressionistic, very, very sketchy, vague, kind of moody kind of person, artist, I do recommend you check out Thomas Pringle. And he's a bit more sketchy than, well, not more than, but I just like the way it looks. It feels almost pastel sometimes. Like it's not as oily, gouache, it's more gritty. But, well, not gritty, but it has a softness to it. Just find any kind of soft pastel painting or sketch, like traditional soft pastel sketch or painting, and you can see this kind of feel in effect. A lot of back and forth strokes here with the flat brush. And yes, maybe there's a bit of photo bashing in the beginning to set the mood, to set the general tone used, but most of it I think is painted. And I am more fascinated with these sorts of concepts. Now, he doesn't always do this. I do wish he had more of these sketches, but kind of like this one. This sketch actually does remind me a bit of one of the sketches of Craig Mullins. Because in a way, he's also pretty impressionistic with his concept artwork. And look at how vague this thing is, but the values are right. The mood is there. It feels like this is part of this world and this world. And I remember one of the advice that Feng Zhu provides in his channel. He recommends sometimes working on multiple pieces at the same time, just so you can. First of all, it's a way to just loosen up, because sometimes when you have one piece, when you're working on one piece, it can feel too pressuring. So whenever you're kind of bored or just kind of tired from working on that piece, you can just scroll down and work on a different painting of the same world, I guess. And you can work on multiple environments at the same time. And it helps you kind of keep things in one place in terms of, or you're going to still have the same mindset, I guess. So it's not bad to work on multiple pieces at the same time. And again, if you look at the way the persons, the people were painted here, it's so, like, I would probably just bash in some people, but you don't have to. You can just adjust them with your brush strokes. And I think he did a good job. I mean, if you focus in on just one part, it's hardly noticeable and clear, but you can get the gist of it. Like, you can feel the busyness of this this train station. I think he did add a bit of canvas texture here. You can see some breakage in the whole piece, like bits of cuts and holes, like these white cuts here. It's more of a, it makes it look more artsy, I guess. Even the way he did the lights here, he just painted it. So not everything has to be bashed in, which I do like seeing, especially in digital paintings. Now here you can see more of his bashed work, and you can tell by the edges, it's a bit cleaner, heavy on the sci-fi again, but very, very rusty of him. Lots of browns in his work. I guess he likes this kind of broken. It's not necessarily apocalypse or dystopian, but I'm trying to look for another word aside from old. Like, it's been around. I think he likes to use some kind of flat brush, because you can see these kind of back and forth strokes that go up and down. Even in these panels, I do think most of this is like the sections, I guess, are clear. Like this whole thing is most likely in one layer, this guy. And then this guy in the background is obviously in the background, and this whole ship is just in one layer, I'm guessing. So it has a typical kind of process, and this is obviously way more cleaner than the impressionistic ones we saw earlier. But it still has that sketchy vibe to it. It's not that rendered, which I do like. This is the type of look that kind of turns me on the most, because it's nice. And it's less chalky, less soft pastel-y, again, compared to the previous sketches we encountered. Now here, I'm not sure what this is. Shadow of Colossus. This could be like a personal project, I'm guessing. I'm guessing he did all of this, or all of this is under one layer, I'm guessing. But it feels like this was rendered more. Or I think this is some kind of trunk, like tree trunk photo. And then he just kind of pulled it or transformed it in a way that makes it look like some kind of, I think it's a kind of creature or something. I think so. Some kind of magical creature. I can see some kind of emblem here. Oh, there's a guy. So this thing is massive as hell. So that's pretty cool. And I do like the shadow bit in the bottom. So this thing is obviously, it feels like it's underwater, but not at the same time. I think this guy, or this thing, is flying, I guess. And it's touching the surface of the water here. So it's just above the surface. And this guy is just clinging on for his life. So it's pretty cool. I can feel the epicness of the scene. Nice birds here to indicate even more scale. It gets smaller as you go down. Makes sense. Now this one you're seeing it from above, looking down tower slums. Reminds me a bit of home. Well, not really, because um, the shots like these are pretty hard. Um, so I think it's best to determine the composition from the very beginning, because in this whole scene, this is just one big shape right here. So if you kind of zoom out, once you determine this whole shape and the relationship of this black space with this negative space, once you fix that from the beginning, everything you do within that just makes sense. Look at how messy or unclear this thing is. It's you can still see that that kind of chalky. I'm not sure what the word is, but it's almost faded out. Like if you've seen pastel that's blended, if you like drag your finger or your thumb along some pastels or chalk, it has that effect. It's not necessarily it doesn't feel like a watercolor wash. It's more of a pastel kind of blending approach, or it has a kind of look at least. And obviously these are these bashed, photo bashed in? I feel like he's using the same kind of flat brush to achieve this look. And maybe a few custom shapes, perhaps. But I like the mood. Lots of smog here, so obviously this guy, you can feel like you're actually above some kind of city and you're seeing this tower overtowering the whole scene here. Pretty cool. This one is obviously bashed more, but you have a clear silhouette here, and then he bashed in a couple of photos, and then he just blended them together. And he does like his mechs or his vehicles. He likes a lot of not necessarily humanoid, more like spider types of mechs. It reminds me of the anime 86. It's a new anime. I think season 2 is out now. It has a couple of episodes. And the main mechs are kind of like this, where they're spider-like in nature. And I think that's pretty interesting, seeing that kind of concept in anime, because most mechs in anime are kind of humanoid in nature. They have 2 arms, 2 legs. So seeing this kind of mech on an anime, it has a different kind of vibe to it. So yeah, pretty cool. Way more finished. And it's hard to see the actual brushstrokes for this piece. But it looks nice. Even the smoke looks realistic. Oh, this one is kind of like the train station. This is the towing street ship. Again, it has that pastel kind of look. And the reason why I like this is because not only is it impressionistic, it's so unique to him. I can't even see the round brush because it's kind of a common thing in whenever you're using Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint. You'll always see the default round brush, and it has a nice kind of emblem, or it's a symbol of simplicity. It's a way to assert your dominance, I guess, as an artist. But you don't always have to. You don't have to use that brush to show that you can use a round brush, you know. And yeah, I'm sure you get what I mean, especially with as you fade out, it feels like it was smeared with your hand, and it doesn't have that washy, almost flat, not flat, but that wet wash kind of effect in you'll see in watercolor. It's kind of very pastel-ish, chalk-ish, in nature. And again, you don't even have to photo bash in the folks. You can just sketch them in. And even the way the lighting was done, nice contrast here. Light, dark. This whole thing is in dark, and the background, the smog, the sky, and this kind of a light part here is making this thing pop out even more. And look at how undefined this thing is. But you can kind of get the gist of the whole environment. Oh shit, it reminds me of an artist. I believe I reviewed his work. One of his paintings, Borkur. Some kind of northern European artist. Borkur, hopefully I'm saying his name right. Borkur Eriksson. He has a scene where it's kind of like a station and he has a vehicle pod of some kind, and it has the same kind of vibe. The style is obviously different, but yeah. So I'm thinking of making this the main cover for this art review of his of Thomas Pringle. Um, Now this one, yes, he does like again the spider mechs, um, very photo bashy, but it's nice because it still feels impressionistic. It still feels like it's his, and that's what I like. Now, obviously, this part is going to be cleaner. It's pretty much the same approach, except this one is more pastel-ish or chalk-ish, and this one is more like done in mixed media collage style. And I think he adds a bit of some gradient maps in the end to make this, like he color grades them, I think. For his more photobashy collage types of concepts. Again, the persons, I think this is some kind of custom shape, perhaps, maybe. Again, this thing isn't even that defined, it's mostly in shadow. But you get the vibe of it. Pretty cool. And I believe he adds a bit of noise in the end. This one has some sparse vibes in it. I still see that kind of flat brush he likes to use. It goes usually up and down. Look at how the background isn't even that defined. So obviously the focus is on this vehicle, this ship. Some persons to indicate some scale. This could be some kind of custom shape, but you don't have to do this. But it looks realistic. Pretty cool. It's a bit cleaner than his usual stuff. It's obviously less chalkish, but you can see that impressionism coming out of his work in this part. Very cool. Oh, or I could make this guy the cover for this art review. I like the shot here. It's pretty longitudinal, very cinematic. I'm not sure what kind of shot this thing is. It's too long, but it really captures the legs of this mech. It feels like the Adams tank. You know, in the US they have this their tank, their main tank. I guess it's called the Adams. Hopefully I'm saying it right. The Adams tank. It's usually kind of desert brown. It has the same vibes, although it's not as heavy. It doesn't feel as heavy as the Adams tank. Again, with the environment, very impressionistic, collagey, bashing in a lot of photos for the background. But he didn't skip, or he skipped that with the people. He just painted them in, and it has a nice vibe to it. Like there's this balancing of photos and non-photos, so it's not overwhelming to look at. If you go back here, let's see this guy again. Lots of detail, or not detail, but lots of information, and then you can see this shadow part in black. It's mostly in silhouette, so it has a nice balance, I guess. Even this part is connected somewhat to this mech. It has a nice break to the eye. So even the main focus of the thing, of the art piece, doesn't even have to be the one with the most information. Holy shit. This is genius. But that's cool. So yeah, you don't have to overwhelm your audience or your viewer. You can tone it down and make it a bit more sketchy. Now, obviously, if you're trying to present it to pretty much everyone, it helps to be cleaner, more defined, but you don't have to. And I think if you want an example of what you can do with this idea, check out Thomas Pringle. This one is less impressionistic. I'm not really into this. It looks nice, but it reminds me a bit of what's his name? Excuse me, let me just find his name. Oh shit, I don't need to, but he does a lot of the motorbike concepts. He does a lot of photo bashing, but he likes to do mechs and chicks in motorbikes. I believe he works for Apple. Mendoza. Ooh, Mendoza. Ooh, genius. It has the same vibe. And yes, in this piece he um does some color grading, I'm guessing. It actually feels like it's 3D, like a rendered 3D scene. That's what it feels like, and you can still see the some noise. It's a bit big. It's some kind of film grain, but it works. This part right here reminds me also of an artist. I believe I did an art review of his work as well. Hopefully I did. Thomas Dubois. Dubois. I think it's French. He has a train scene with a chick, like a train or a bus concept with the chick on the side, and it has the same kind of impressionistic mixed media kind of vibe. Same thing here. Spider Mech. This is somewhere I'm guessing in India. This whole thing in the bottom is just black. You don't need that much information, but it works. Very, very cool. Lots of colors. It's not as saturated, but you can still see the pastel-esque-ness of the whole thing. I like how some of the environmental context is implanted on the mech. Like you can see a lot of ornamentation or designs that reflects the environment as well, or it belongs in the scene. So it's not like some kind of invading force. It's just some kind of vehicle that belongs in the city. Some kind of guard mech perhaps. Very, very cool. And he does a good job of fading these folks right here and even the background. Maybe he does a lot of pastel stuff on the side because it still feels like a pastel. Even the way the hues were done here. If you've seen a lot of pastel sketches or paintings, they tend to use a lot of different hues and they tend to look vibrant. So yeah. Oh shit, we're done. So I guess that's it for this art review. Oh yeah, by the way, he does have a graphic novel if you're interested. So you can buy it on Indiegogo. It's taking a while to load, but okay, it's called Ascend. Hell Climber. Climber. God. So you can check it out. But yeah, so I'll be linking all of the links in the description below. So yeah, so that's it for this art review of Thomas Pringle. I'll be linking his ArtStation, this site. This is cool, featuring some of his work, and obviously his website. I do recommend to check out his industry project as well, so you can see more of his professional work. But hopefully you're inspired from this video, and yes, please check out his work. And if you want, you can always check out his graphic novel. So that's it for this video. Keep drawing, keep painting, keep learning, and stay free.